My name is Paulo. I'm a co-founder and CEO of ShiftForward. We're a technology R&D company. And we're going to show you today what I was going to show you today. There we are. I think I need to go back to the start. There we go. So what I'm going to show you today is programmatic guarantees, their challenges, and how forecasting can help solve them. So what is programmatic guarantees? It really is an automated way of trading guaranteed deliveries. And the fundamental question is, what do we need to get guarantees? We need to know what we have, otherwise we can't really sell or reserve. And if you're talking programmatic, we need to know how do we transmit that information from the supply side to the demand side through APIs, and that also means in near real time. How can we provide guarantees? Well, the only people who can really provide guarantees are the inventory controllers, so the publishers. But everyone else in the process can also provide estimations, especially through real-time bidding. You can estimate how many impressions a given campaign is going to reach, and how many unique users that is going to reach, even if it's not a guarantee. And I agree with the previous speaker, baby steps, and we'll get there. So get some estimations up and running, and when the technology is ready to fulfill the guarantees from demand all the way down to the publishers, then we have the problem solved. So let's look at some very specific use cases of using forecasting to achieve this. I'm going to start with the state of programmatic trading so far. We have the publishers, supply side, we have the buyers, and sales teams planning on their system. Not very difficult. But we then have direct sales platforms that are now coming to the market and saying, hey, you can actually plan and execute a buy over this platform. That's very good, but it doesn't have the rest of the ecosystem. It doesn't have live traffic. It doesn't allow DSPs to use their own data or the agency's data to do targeting. So how do we really mix this up and provide guarantees? Well, let's look at what the publishers can do. By having an API exposing availability to third parties, they can show, with some control over visibility, they can show how much availability they have for any campaign someone is planning. That could be through the DSP all the way down to the exchanges and then to the publishers. Of course, the sales teams need to know that as well. So we're talking about an integrated view where everyone that connects to that inventory knows what's going on. I cannot sell the same inventory twice. But guaranteed and non-guaranteed models can work at the same time. One does not replace the other. There's always space for both. But publishers are not the only ones who can use forecasting. Exchanges and SSPs and everyone in the middle can also start having their own forecasting APIs and expose that to the buying side, so to the DSPs. What that allows them is, because they have such a cross-publisher view, they can report deduplicated inventory. And they can say someone with a frequency capping of 5, that goes to 5 different publishers and not to the 6th one. That's what they can do. That publishers alone may not be able to. One of the questions that was raised here today as well was, well, how do I actually fulfill that order? I get a guaranteed campaign. How am I going to do it? Baby steps. Right now, order fulfillment could come in from real-time bidding. If you know the past, you know supply levels don't change that much, you can actually fulfill guaranteed campaigns through real-time bidding. But the future really is to cascade the guarantees all the way back to the publishers. That's, in the end, what a real guarantee is, and the publisher reserves that not to give it to anyone else. But DSPs can also do something with forecasting. Integrating a forecast on their own system, they have a single view. They really are the ones in a position for one campaign to say, there is only going to be a frequency cap of 5, I'm reaching 6 times per user across all the exchanges, SSPs, and direct publisher relationships I have. So they can use this to produce estimations. But same problem comes in. How do I fulfill those orders? Again, we can use real-time bidding for now. And as the SSPs and everyone else starts implementing forecasting APIs, you can bring that over. And in the end, you're going to have, hopefully, one full picture where APIs displaying availability in a controlled fashion. So publishers should really say, I'm not going to show 100% of my availability. There's something I want to keep for myself. This is what I'm going to show. And I can cascade all the way down to the SPs. This isn't the demise of exchanges. Exchanges have their role. They aggregate. There's data overlay. There's a lot of different things they can do. But in the end, guarantees really are on the supply side. So I'm going to bring here a case study from a DSP, Samasio, which is one of ShiftForward's clients. And I'm going to show how they used forecasting to enable programmatic guarantees. What was Samasio's challenges? Well, there was difficulty in getting access to the right inventory programmatically. That's one challenge. The second one is producing reach estimations, deduplicated reach estimations, especially because they use their own segmentation. So that's even harder. And third, supply side, the right supply side, also needs to keep some control over supply and price levels. That means controlling part of it, at least, on their own ad server. So how did we solve this, and what does this final solution for Samasio look like? Well, a user intelligence platform where a planner can book campaigns, choose their audience segmentation, choose the social demographics, choose campaign sources, so inventory sources. It could be RTB, it could be guaranteed direct buys. And what the forecast does is, once a planner starts playing with this, it will provide a reach estimation in real time. No more running campaigns and then waiting for a week or 2 days or whatever to get, well, did that campaign even hit anyone? Is it hitting too many people? No, you know that beforehand. And as the planner moves on booking the campaign, choosing inventory sources, you get a more detailed view. How many actual impressions and unique users this will reach? How much of that can I get guaranteed and direct? And how much of that I can get through real-time bidding, for example? And how is this possible? How can someone do this? The trick is in two parts. You get the direct buys or the direct connections with direct publishers through something called pre-call, which is Samasio's technology. This is what enables the direct buys to go right into the publisher's ad servers. A little bit more on that later. On the SSPs, still use that. Everything comes into one big piece of technology that has a forecasting engine in it, puts it all together, adds on the segmentation that Samasio builds, and allows agencies, while booking, to actually get estimations for their campaigns, their segments, on whatever inventory they're looking for. Well, just a little bit about those two pieces of technology. Pre-call, without going too much into detail, it brings ad server inventory or exposes ad server inventory to Samasio. Samasio is then able to talk to the ad server to say, there's a campaign for this user, this is how much I want to pay. And the ad server, when they recognize that, they already have an agreement between the agency and the buyer and the publisher, so that is already reserved. And that's when they say, yes, deliver it. And the AdForecaster is ShiftForward's forecasting engine. And this is what allows Samasio to bring in real time all the inventory together and say, how much can I actually buy? Because we're a technology company, I have to talk about a little bit about technology and what does a forecasting engine look like and what does it need to do? Well, I think there are three main things to make a successful forecasting engine. So if you're looking for one, this is what you should look out for. The first, for reliability, it needs to match or predict future inventory. Just the past isn't enough. Inventory fluctuates considerably, so you've got to predict what is going to happen in the future, and is that going to match the campaigns you're trying to book. Secondly, you've got to take all the other campaigns into account. Just gross availability is not enough, you need net availability. But to be useful in programmatic, it needs to respond very, very quickly, because there is someone waiting for that response. And it needs to expose an API and allow on-demand queries of how much is available. No pre-packaged, that doesn't work. Someone wants to buy a specific segment for a specific publisher from a specific frequency cap, you can never figure out what they're doing. You've got to be able to do on demand. And How can we achieve this? What's the solution? Well, three pillars of technology. Machine learning, this is a set of algorithms that can predict the future. Performance optimization, I cannot stress this enough. To be able to do 10, 20-second response times, this is core. And third, you need to scale, because to do those responses, you're going to evaluate trillions of events to figure out what is the actual reach. And how did we do this at ShiftForward? A little bit more technical. On machine learning, we use this for anomaly detection. This is when a site comes off and you don't know why, but it's just not there anymore. We have to predict that. We have not to predict, we have to detect that. We have to do trend analysis to take seasonality into account, for example. We also use frequency and recency analysis on users. How often do they come? Because frequency capping has a huge impact on campaign delivery. If you don't know how often someone comes, are they going to hit even 10 ads? Because if they're not, you're not going to have enough delivery. On performance, we've built our own storage formats. That's critical. Data structures as well have been optimized, and a lot of profiling and benchmarking. It is probably the most technical piece that we have, and that allows, for example, I can tell in the start of the project, we're talking about giving a response in 5 minutes, we're down to 20 seconds, and that's how we did it. On scalability, we decided for functional programming. It's a new or different paradigm in development with a language called Scala. We use an actor system. It's a distributed way of developing, in the sense that a machine doesn't really care what it's running inside. It knows there are sets of machines, and that's all taken care of automatically by an actor system, and we use one called ACA. And then dynamic resource allocation, because you never know the day of tomorrow. You may have 3 times more traffic, and you have to keep up with that. And we use Amazon for that with dynamic resource allocation. So, just to finalize, we can't guarantee things without knowing what is available to sell. This is a forecasting engine's job. Automation, you need fast responses. APIs cannot wait 10 minutes. And guaranteed is best executed with reservation, but baby steps, there are other ways of doing it until everything is ready for that. And anyone in the ecosystem can take advantage of forecasting. It could be just to do guarantees, it could also be to produce estimations. Thank you. Any questions?